Hello and welcome to another episode of Breaking Mayberry, the show that has gathered us all here today to discuss one question. How do we kill Superman? I'm one of your hosts, I'm Marty Schneider.
I'm the other host, Dan Ludwig. How you doing, Marty?
I'm good, bud. We haven't spoken for a while.
Yeah.
And listeners, we haven't spoken to you for a while. It was kind of an unannounced short break. That's on me. I took a vacation. I took a week and a half, but 2 weeks off to spend time with my fiance.
Yeah, check it out. This motherfucker's engaged.
I got engaged over the past couple of weeks. I proposed to my long-suffering girlfriend Sarah, who has sat through many Andy Griffith episode and worse. Honestly, really, that's the commitment right there. That's the moment where I was like, I gotta lock this shit down because no one else is gonna put up with this.
No, absolutely. Every season that goes by, the scales get a little heavier in terms of I love Marty. I have to watch the Andy Griffith show with him.
I've been in a relationship this entire time. You're the one who had to actually go on dates and talk about this podcast.
Oh, yeah, no. My girlfriend, one of the first dates we went on, not one of the first dates, it was a month in, but we were walking back from dinner, and there was just a lull, and she just burst out laughing and screamed, "You have a fucking podcast, what am I doing with my life?" And we got past that.
How long into a date, into a relationship, into a couple of dates before you bring up the podcast?
As many as possible. There were entire short-lived relationships where they never found out. But there was always the question of well then Dan, what the fuck are you doing with all your free time if nothing interesting? And the answer is a podcast about the Andy Griffith show.
This is literally the most interesting thing about you.
Also, she holds it over my head sometimes where she's like, when we first brought it up, you fucking said that you had a media criticism podcast. Bitch, you watched the Andy Griffith show. How are we talking about my thing? Fucking, you got engaged.
That's true. Yeah, I got engaged. I could tell the whole story. I'm not going to tell the whole story because screw you. That's our story. But I will say this. Sarah never gets to celebrate her own birthday. Mm-hmm. Because it's December 28th and no one wants to do shit on December 28th. So she's always celebrated her half birthday, June 28th, which was my cover. I used Sarah's high opinion of herself against her. Because I was like, yeah, we're going to go out on this dinner and oh, look, I found tickets to a string quartet. That's just a normal thing to do for your birthday. And she was like, yeah, of course. This is exactly what you would buy me for my birthday. Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think for a second she was like, oh, hell yeah, look at this awesome ring I got for my birthday.
Oh, man, if this is what I get for a half birthday, imagine what you're going to have to get me when you fucking propose, idiot.
Now, to be honest, she didn't even look at the ring. She was like, oh, God, yes. It took her. And then she hasn't stopped looking at the ring since.
Just staring at it, just
yes.
Wake up. That's blocked off on her calendar.
I have gotten reports of what that ring looks like in 4 different types of light this week.
Holy shit!
So yeah, I'm taking that big jump into adulthood. Hooray!
Yeah.
I guess woo! Oh, you know what? Hang on. I'm gonna be a complete asshole here. I know that we've talked about how much of our lives we give to content, but I did wait until to being on the air here. Dan, you have to be my best man, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I've been I've seen this coming. You told me once when you were blackout drunk that when you get married, I'm going to be your best man. I've just been
there you go. So there you go. We have to be the best. You get to be the best man.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about being the best man, Daniel. Yeah. This means that you have to plan an event and give a speech.
Yeah, I can do both of those.
You can't do either of those.
Since I've been writing the speech in my head since you got engaged. I have I have like 3/4 of it done.
Okay,
it's mostly roasts of you.
Of course it is.
Yeah. It's going to hurt your feelings.
That's what you really want to do.
Yeah.
Like, on someone's wedding day is go for the throat.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm revoking best man status.
No, it's already happened.
Damn. Okay.
It's been promised. Yeah, I figured just like I didn't even think you needed to say it. I was just like, well, cool.
All right. So that's my news. Dan, did you tell me you were getting a psychic?
I'm getting a psychic. So while you've been having a wonderful magical weekend with delightful wedding proposals and staring at rings, it's been real dog shit over here.
Does this have to do with your girlfriend thinking that she saw a ghost?
So, girlfriend has been thinking she's seen a ghost. Yes, I'm actually kind of on board with that. There's a lot of weird creaks. We keep hearing footsteps in the other room. It's pretty creepy.
It's because you live in a South Philly row home apartment. Like,
no, they're ominous ass footsteps. They are like, it's some The Ring shit.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
so explain to me why you're getting a psychic, though.
So you may require from previous episodes whole camping fucking nightmare.
Right. The druids that you angered.
Yeah, thunderstorm rained us out. Had to crawl under a tree through the mud. Recently, our HVAC broke, which was after a long weekend of dealing with like family shit, and then our HVAC just melted. So we had to vacate our apartment, go stay with Brianna's brother. We are not there for like 10 minutes before his dog becomes deathly ill and has to be rushed off to an animal hospital. As a result, we have to take shifts watching the dog when he's home to make sure that like nothing happens.
Okay.
And at this point,
still nothing paranormal about this.
It's more... We have really fucking bad luck. Just bad shit happens to us all the time. So I've just kind of reached the conclusion of like, I'm gonna get us a fucking psychic. Like,
just to check out your energy.
In terms of probability of bad shit happening to a couple all the time, it's pretty fucking like getting kind of ridiculous. So like, I was looking online for like how to improve your luck. And I was like, give me some sage bullshit. Tell me to hang a crystal around my neck. And everything was like, here's 20 practical ways to improve your luck. Try being more positive. Say yes to things more. And I was like, no. I want impractical ways to improve my luck. Sell me some stupid bullshit. Like, you have me finally... stupid ass world of crystals and dream catchers and all that shit. Get in here. I will pay $5.95 for some herbs to burn in my living room. But I told my mom about this and was like, yeah, no, kind of looking for some shit to improve our luck. And she just like without fail was like, oh, you want to see my psychic?
Your mom said that.
Yeah, my mom has my mom's been like a sage burner and shit. So she was like, yeah, you can see my acupuncturist / psychic. She does like palm reading. She does fortune telling. She does aura cleansing, and she will commune with the dead for you. So I wonder if she has like a package. I might like also throw in like talking to like Humphrey Bogart, maybe see if like she can also make that happen. The whole thing is going to be over Zoom.
Hang on a second. First off, my man, if you're gonna commune with the dead, and you're picking a dead celebrity, Humphrey Bogart's a good one. But how do you not automatically pick Andy Griffith?
I don't want anything more to do with this man.
And actually, I might just delete this. But how did you not pick your own father?
He'll be fine. He's busy, probably.
He's got his own shit going on.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that your relationship with your father is basically the same in the afterlife.
He's cool. I'm sure he's like, he probably is like bothering Gandhi right now. God. Yeah, no, Humphrey, fuck no to Andy Griffith. The man already dominates enough of my waking life. He's not, what if he haunts me? And what if, like, also imagine making a psychic do an Andy Griffith impression, where it's like...
Hang on a second. Listeners, If we get to 150 Patreon patrons, we will have Dan Psychic contact Andy Griffith or Don Knotts for us. Or Ron Howard. He's still alive, but maybe the Psychic has his number. Like, we will do a seance to talk to Andy Griffith or Don Knotts.
We're going to do it, and the Psychic is going to be like, oh, that part of the afterlife is fuzzy. And we'll just be like, we'll wait. We'll fucking wait. Go watch an episode of the Andy Griffith Show and come back with an impression of him. We'll hang out. She'll be like, you sure you don't want to talk to your dad? And be like, no, give me AG. I want to meet the man that's ruined so much of my life. Oh, fuck. Yeah, no, I'm doing the stupid bullshit. I don't fucking care. Give me a Psychic. But yeah, that's now on the Patreon goals. I'll fucking add that in.
By the way, speaking of Patreon, special thanks to our new Patreon patrons, Jesse and William. Thank you for tuning in and donating to us. And thank you to Arthur Drexel, whose name I got wrong last time, who also left us a lovely review on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, that's nice.
Arthur Drexel writes, good every time. Every week I see a new episode, I know I'm getting something great to listen to on the road, on break, or in the gym. And every week without is a little more empty. Thank you, Arthur.
Jesus, we need to stop having gap weeks. Fuck.
Right, no, Arthur depends on us.
Also, good every week is
such an exaggeration.
So much, but that is such a bullface lie.
It's not true.
Thank you for bullshitting potential listeners for us. We have at best an 80% hit rate.
I'll tell you though, we got a good one this week.
Let's fucking do it.
I was thinking this would be a twofer, but we'll find out.
Yeah,
we're gonna see how long this first episode takes us.
Well, I think the second one we can sum up in 6 minutes.
The second we'll find out. I've got some stuff to say about the second one, but like, let me go ahead and say the episode we're about to do is it's a recurring thing. It's just kind of a stock plot point at this point that Andy does something ridiculous in order to preserve Barney's ego, right?
Yeah.
This is the most demented one I've ever seen. This is one where men could die.
Yes.
This is the dumbest and most dangerous one so far.
Yeah. Which, the reveal, like, all right, if Andy didn't do the insane thing, it wouldn't even been that bad. Like, it honestly would not have, with, like, some light explaining. This is cryptic. Let's barrel the fuck into it.
You know, it's cool, because the one-sentence summary, the actually two-sentence summary from Wikipedia, gives a full synopsis. Okay, so here we are, Season 4, Episode 13, Barney and the Cave Rescue, directed by Dick Crenna, written by Harvey Bullock, and it originally airs January 6, 1964. Here is your one-sentence summary from Wikipedia, your two-sentence summary, actually. Barney is mocked by the town for doing his duty too zealously. Period. When Andy and Helen are trapped in a mine, they find their way out the back, but learn Barney has mounted a full-scale rescue and secretly return to save Barney further humiliation. Here is your one run-on sentence summary from Wikipedia. Jesus.
How are you missing a part in a Wikipedia summary? How is your Wikipedia summary missing Act 2?
I mean, here's the funny part about this is, like, I feel like this is actually a pretty good summary because it really captures the feeling of how part 1 of this episode and part 2 of this episode have fuck all to do with each other. They are connected by the most tenuous of threads.
Yeah. There is a giant motorcycle over a ravine leap in logic.
It kind of reminds me of, like, old Simpsons episodes where, like, you knew the first 8 minutes of the Simpsons episode were just going to be something else, and then the Simpsons episode would start. But this one tries to tie them in and doesn't do a great job of it.
No.
It really feels like they had, like, 2 half episodes written and just like, yeah, this works.
Yeah, they were just like, well, let's do one of the standard pathos things. We want to put people in a fucking mine. So we'll just do Barney's emotional issue number 12. Fuck it. Number 3. They don't have 12 of these.
Yeah. So, all right, we open up. Everybody's going to the town picnic. Everybody except Gomer, I guess.
Okay, let's just jump into it. So they are making Gomer the deputy who is in charge of law enforcement in the entire town while they are at the picnic. I guess the picnic is like off in the goddamn mountains. So Gomer is in charge of the town. Gomer's level of cognitive ability varies. Sometimes he's just a guy who talks slow. Sometimes he is fully developmentally disabled.
Sometimes he's fairly sharp. In the Citizen's Arrest episode, he's pretty sharp.
This is not the Citizen's Arrest episode.
No.
This is like very much the latter option, which is interesting.
He has difficulty remembering two things in this episode. Like
he displays little to no situational awareness, which is very
concerning.
Upsetting that they made him in charge of law enforcement for the entire town.
I mean, I think that's kind of the gag, right? The gag is that, like, nothing is going to happen, so little is going to happen that you could give Gomer the job. Which isn't saying much for Andy or Barney, right?
No, well...
Like, Andy seems to be fully aware that his job is bullshit.
Yeah.
Barney's the only one who thinks it matters.
Yeah, he's just like, you just sit by the phones and you just answer it. Yeah, it slowly dawns on Barney, and he starts, like, wildly overcompensating, which leads to thing number 2. They go outside where Barney is, like, teaching Gomer how to patrol. Andy runs into Fergus, the bank manager, and basically establishes real quick Fergus is overworked, he has a cold, and there's a bank examiner coming.
Yeah, it's a Saturday, right? So that's why it's weird. That's what Andy comments. He's like, Fergus, why are you opening up the bank on a Saturday? Fergus is like, oh, I've got an examiner coming to do an audit. We're doing an audit today. Also, I'm sick. He's covering his face with like a handkerchief.
Yeah.
Because he's sneezing and he's sick. And he takes... is the joke that he's got like 50 keys and doesn't remember which one opens his bank door? Because he's taken forever to open that bank.
Yeah, he's like having trouble opening the bank door, so it looks like he's jimmying the lock. He's covering his face with a rag, so it looks like he's a thief. The bank examiner rolls up in criminal uniform.
Which is just a suit.
Yeah, and Barney, nearby, mistakes them for bank robbers. Warns two nearby chuckle fucks that they need to duck before the lead starts flying.
Yeah, but let's be clear, he runs up on them with his gun. He's screaming. He's just like, up against the wall!
Yeah.
And we've talked about this a lot, but I think what I figured out is that the Andy Griffith Show takes place in a universe where bullets don't hurt.
Yeah, it's Westworld bullets.
Like everybody's response, I cannot stress this enough. Like the bank manager's response upon having Barney like pull a gun on him and wave it in his face is not, holy shit, man, calm down, no, oh my god. His response is, hey, cut that out.
Yeah,
put that away.
Come on, man, get out of here. I need to see someone get shot in the Andy Griffith universe and just see how little it harms them, because it's the only explanation. This is like Westworld bullets, where it just knocks you down.
So anyway, back to this episode, right? Everybody gathers around. I think it's the same two old dudes that always make fun of Barney. Are just like, hey, idiot, good job. Good job catching the bank manager opening his own bank, you moron. And everybody just starts, you get this, you understand what's happening here. The whole crowd gathers and they're like, ha ha, Barney, you suck. Let's go ahead and taunt this deranged man who still has a gun.
Yeah. Which, on one hand, okay, Barney was... like, it's understandable for Barney to think those guys were robbing the bank. They looked like fucking bank robbers. Shouldn't have run up on him with a gun drawn, of course. So, for like a split second, I was like, oh man, get off him. He was just kind of like doing his job. They looked like bank robbers. And then that stupidity left my skull very quickly when I was like, oh wait, no, this is every fucking day for these people.
Yeah, right. They're used to this. Like, this is all the time.
Yeah. Like, the reason Fergus wasn't shocked by Barney waving a gun at him is because that is just Tuesday for him.
Yeah.
Is like, this probably happens like every 12 minutes. Is just, like, someone dares to cover their face for 5 seconds and Barney's like, get on the ground! You're robbing this produce stand!
So, the next scene scene, it's kind of like Barney just pouting around the jail, and Andy's trying to like say, "Hey, it's okay. Everybody respects you. Everybody thinks you're a great lawman. Let's just go to the picnic, right?" And I like this line. He says, "We've got a date at the picnic with 2 fine women and 4 fine chickens. Every member of this picnic gets their own chicken." I really love the idea that each of them are just holding a whole chicken and just going to town on it.
I just imagine the Incredible Gonzo is also there with him. So Andy is because he's lying to him. He's like, "I bet everyone is out in town talking about how fucking great you are and how good of a cop you are, and no one's going to make fun of you at this picnic," which is lies.
Right.
He is straight up lying to his friend just because he wants to go to this fucking picnic.
It's a weird codependent relationship these people have, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can just go to the picnic without Barney. Barney doesn't have to go to the picnic if he doesn't want to go to the picnic.
Yeah.
Is he on like suicide watch? Is it just like you can't leave Barney alone when he's in these moods?
Yeah. It's like
Gotta keep him busy. Don't let him light the stove.
It's like when you're trying to cheer someone up, but you want to do shit, so you just keep like slowly guiding them towards the thing you want to do, where you're like, "You know what would cheer you up? Going to see Captain America, which just came out. I bet that would really cheer you up. Let me check showtimes. I think that would really cheer you up."
You just break up with your girlfriend? Well, come here to this fucking nightclub that I want to go to and talk to girls with me for me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Please come here and make me look better by comparison. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. I can't leave you, but I already had plans, so...
That's really what it is, right? Like,
yeah.
I want to be a good friend, but I don't want to change my calendar.
Yeah. No, I don't want to just sit there and stare at you while you're sad. He does like some very brutal emotional manipulation of his sad friend. It's like Andy's pretty fucked up both of these episodes. But he basically twists Barney's arm to come into the picnic. Barney's like, "You know what? You're right. I bet everybody thinks I'm good at my job and everyone is going to be cool at it." And Opie just comes in. He's like, "Everybody's calling Barney a fucking moron." I'm a child. Even for a child, I'm tone deaf about this.
It's the return of Screamin' Opie. Like,
yeah.
I always love when we get a good... I think this is the only thing that Opie does in this entire episode, by the way. Opie just runs in and is just like, "Hey, Barney! Everyone knows you suck!"
Yeah.
And then leaves. He comes in again at the stinger.
It is classic Opie that... like season 1 Opie, where his job is to scream in exposition and also get up under someone and just speed bag their ego.
Yeah, no, this is all they have Opie do the entire episode, which is very weird considering half this episode, Opie's father could be dead. Like,
no shot of the child wondering if his dad died in a cave.
Like, there's a good chunk of this episode where everyone is wondering if Andy is still alive.
Yeah.
And we don't need to talk to Opie about that.
Well, no, I would argue they don't really entertain the possibility of him being dead. They're just like, he's trapped in the cave, alive. He's alive. Nobody get an EMT ready.
No. Because Barney does specifically state that he's worried because he yelled into the cave and he got no reply. So
yeah, that's true.
And let's go ahead and get into that, right? Like, Andy says, "Okay, let's just go to the picnic and we'll just do our own thing. We'll go far away from everyone." And so that's the next scene, is they go into the woods. They are, I guess, on Mars, apparently. They are so far away from everybody else in the picnic because the show didn't want to hire extras this week. They blew all their extras budget in the last scene.
If you're gonna go like that deep out into the woods, why even fucking just go to a diner?
Yeah, why bother? You're not at the town picnic anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you could be doing this in Andy's front yard and get the same effect.
It's so fucking weird. Also, who gives a shit about a town picnic? It's dumb as hell.
It's literally all these people have in their lives, man.
God. Just, like, go To a bar. Well, it's because there's no alcohol.
It's because there's no alcohol. That's what it is.
I just remembered. I was like, just go to a bar. Oh, wait, nope. Yep, I understand. Town picnic. Only thing keeping you sane.
You got a movie theater. Just go watch, whatever Spencer Tracy's up to these days.
Yeah.
So Barney's still pouting. He's like, I don't know. I think we're still too close to everybody. There's a dumb joke where Thelma Lou's like, okay, everybody, if you want chicken, raise your hands. I mean, put up your hands.
Which is just a real lazy fucking hurdle. Like, yeah.
That was pretty contrived, wasn't it, Bullock? That's right, we're bringing back the Batman bit.
Just kind of made the joke come to you on that one, huh? Andy, like a normal, sane human being, written like in a way, in a very organic decision, says, hey, fellow grown-ass adults here with their dates, do you want to go run around in an abandoned mine shaft together? Just like, come on, let's go be adults in a mine shaft that we used to go into as children. And two adults are like, yeah, I want to go be in a little-ass cave.
Listen, okay. I'm going to be real pedantic about this. Me and one of the commenters on the ultra-reliable Mayberry Wiki see eye to eye on this. Andy refers to it as a mine cave. And you can't be both.
Yeah.
You are a mine or a cave. Caves are naturally formed. Mines are not. This is clearly a mine. I'm sorry. That's a pedantic bullshit, but it bothered me.
Well, it's like a cave they were using as a mine, right? Like, I'm assuming it was just already a cave and someone was like, I'm gonna dig for jewels in here. Ha ha!
So
this isn't a sanctioned mining operation. I'm just Pappy. I got a pitchfork and a jug with X's on it.
This is why Andy Griffith wants to kill all gold panners.
Yes.
Remember, we've already established this. Andy Griffith is on a mission to kill all gold miners.
Yeah.
Like, all prospectors must die, according to Andy Griffith. It's a prequel.
Yes. Like, his character in Savages is actually Andy Griffith. He's become wealthy and decided to seek his revenge.
So yeah, Andy and Miss Crump, Helen, they decide, yeah, whatever. This sounds like a fun thing to do on a date, I guess.
Yeah.
Is to go off into a mine shaft. And I think Andy pretty much clearly says, like, yeah, well, we're going to go into that mine and we're going to fuck.
Yeah. It's basically like, we're going to find somewhere nice to sit down and we're going to be there till the flashlight runs out. So it's just basically like, hey, let's go do hand stuff in a cave.
So they go in. So Andy and Helen are in the cave, which, by the way, the cave is racist. We should, just to be clear, just to remind you that it's 1964. There's a racist story that goes along with the cave.
Hey, listeners, did you know that caves can be racist? I didn't. Okay, we should not do it, the dignity of reciting it.
We're not going to recite it. Andy tells a racist story about, like, two Native American lovers who got lost in the cave. There are some references to Uggs and how, and we're not going to.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Like, it serves zero purpose. It doesn't add anything. It's not like the cave is on an Indian burial ground. It's not like the spirit of one of these, like, people comes out, It's not like it's even cursed or anything. Like, it's just, they were just like, we need to fill some time. It's 1964. Do something problematic. All right, good. That'll kill 3 minutes.
We haven't checked the Native Americans in a little while. We got to make sure we knock them back down. Like,
John Wayne's not doing a good enough job of it in movies.
It's been a while since we did one of these. Let's work that in there.
Barney gets chewed out by his girlfriend for being a fucking whiny baby.
Yeah.
She's just like, this sucks, man. I don't want to be hanging out here, like, with you if you're gonna bitch.
Stay home. He didn't want to do this.
He didn't want to be there. This is the second episode where it's just like, you forced these people to come that didn't want to come.
Okay. I hate to, like, take the chinless fuck side, but I would be catatonic right now. Like, I would be completely non-functional if I got ripped on by an entire town like that. Like, let the guy fucking sit in his house, drink some wine, and listen to Enya like we all do after a situation like this. Oh, don't give me a look like you don't.
All of us?
Don't give me a look like you don't listen to Enya when you're sad.
I genuinely...
Marty.
You know what? I'm going to say I do for the sake of the bit. So...
That's not a bit. That's genuine. We're talking about this after.
So, Barney and Thelma Lou, they start to go into the cave. So they're entering the cave, and Helen and Andy are way deep in the cave. They're much further in.
Yeah, like...
Barney has this little bit about he doesn't like caves. He's worried a bat's gonna fly in his hair
and lay eggs in his brain, drive you insane. Nice little bit.
And Barney doesn't know what a bat is. And then the mine collapses.
Yes, cannot emphasize this enough. Andy and Crump are almost crushed to death. They very narrowly avoid several rocks falling on them and killing them terribly.
There is a rock slide. Barney and Thelma Lou barely make it out, right?
Yeah.
They run out and the dust is falling behind them and so. And then Barney's suddenly like, Andy! Holy crap!
And then this is the hardest the music of this show has ever gone, where he's like, Andy's still there. Bum bum bum. The mine collapsed. Bum bum bum. Andy. Bum 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 bum. Like fucking. The levels on the music are spiking like they never ever have before.
I mean, look, we can make fun of it now, but I bet if you're watching this in January of 1964, you're like, holy shit!
Yeah, no, this is the first time this show has had stakes, even vague stakes.
Yeah,
fucking, there's a life and death problem. A person could die. It's holy shit. This is suddenly, television, even a little bit. And then it immediately isn't.
There's an advertisement for cigarettes, and then when we get back for commercial...
Andy's like, oh, there's a door right over there, come on.
It's some J.J. Abrams shit. It is...
absolute horse shit.
It is very much like, oh, I'm gonna put you in danger, and then not. Anyway, so... They immediately tell everyone at home, don't worry, Andy's fine. Helen is being hysterical. Crazy women, and they're overreacting to nearly dying alone in a cave.
Fucking yeah, no, she's like, she's not even crazy. She's not like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. She's like, I'm a little freaked out right now. And he's like, what? Why? Come on. Don't you understand you're in the Andy Griffith Show? I'm sure a Deus Ex Machina is gonna pop up. Oh, look, a hole!
I feel like a lot of Andy Taylor's behavior is explained if you just assume that he knows his name is on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
If you just figure that he's got Deadpool-esque plot armor and just situational awareness.
It makes sense because they're like, I'm going to fire you, Andy Griffith. He's like, no, you can't.
No, you're not.
I'm not even going to give you a good reason why you can't. What are you going to do? Cancel the show? Get a new guy? You can't do it.
So
that actually makes sense and is canon now.
Andy says, hey, I bet if we go further in the mine, we'll find our way out. And they do. They find a way out the cave, a second entrance, a tunnel that led all the way out. Meanwhile, Barney is putting together a search and rescue party. And then rather than go and tell everyone, their immediate concern, Helen and Andy, is they're like, well, we better get home and change our clothes. They're a little dirty. They find a road conveniently right next to them. They hitchhike home from some guy in a truck.
Yeah, just okay. So
the level of contrivances here. Right.
So they don't go to find their friends who might have also been in the cave.
To be fair, they didn't know. They didn't know that Barney and Thelma Lou joined them.
You still go back and you're like, dude, we almost died in a cave collapse.
Yeah, to be clear, they suggested going to the cave, right? You still mentioned the cave to them, and you've got to go over there and be like, hey guys, don't go to the cave.
It's an unsafe cave. Or just anything other than, hey, you want to go home and take a shower? Let's go home and take a shower. You at least have a little thing of oh my god, we almost fucking died.
They're so fucking chill about this.
Yeah, that's really the big leap of it. This all is no one could possibly be this chill, even if you were like, okay, I got trapped in a cave for a little bit. I thought I was trapped in a cave. No, I'm not trapped in a cave. A fucking bunch of rocks almost fell on you and crushed your bodies. Like, you were almost mush. Not, like, less than an hour ago. Like,
but no, they go to Helen's house and like she just takes a shower. She's probably just like, hey, do you have, there's no urgency here. Can I open up a bottle of wine? You want to watch? I think Jeopardy's on. You want to?
Yeah.
I think we could probably catch Final Jeopardy if we try hard enough. Like they have zero urgency whatsoever, which is fucked up because at some point in time, like they know that their friends are gonna wonder where they are.
Yeah.
At the very least, you can't just disappear for hours.
In the woods, like very far away from the thing. Like if you were gone this long and I didn't know that you were in a cave collapse, I'd be like, oh shit, a coyote ate Andy. Like a black bear just dragged Helen Crump off into the woods and they're fucking dead now.
No. Instead, they're just chilling. She's taking a shower, and then Andy turns on the news, and that's when they find out that there's a bulletin of like. On the news, they're like, there's a rescue attempt underway led by Bonnie Fife to rescue Sheriff Andrew Taylor and female accomplice. Like,
yeah. Fucking.
And woman.
Like, yeah. And some lady. We don't. She's not the important part. Fucking. So, Barney has arranged a very, like, competently put together search effort.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, all he really did was call everyone and say, get a shovel. Like,
yeah.
This really, really overstates the degree of Barney's competency.
He has them assemble every single digging implement they have in, like, a 40-mile radius, when it's just, like, 4 guys digging. Like, the volume of digging implements they have doesn't really change anything about this situation. It's not a big cave. Like, it's just a fucking, like, a fucking, like, little fucking hole. Like, 3 guys can be in there at a time. But for the most part, he's just organizing the entire town to gather around and freak out with him. Like, he's just like, everybody come to the town. Stand there, be upset with me.
Yeah. And so basically, he's just like, he calls in. Remember, none of these people are professional excavators or spelunkers or anything. He's just like, hey, everyone, come on in. Maybe you can die in a cave, too.
Yeah.
Like it's... And that's where this fucking goes nuts, right? This goes off the fucking rails for me. I'm on board for everything else. But then Andy says the most demented fucking thing I've heard him say this entire show, which is, well, if Barney's going through all the trouble of having a rescue mission, a rescue attempt, we better make sure there's someone for him to rescue on the other side, shouldn't we? What? Do you know how many people die rescuing people from caves? You've already established that the fucking place is unstable.
Yeah, which some fucking farmer is standing in a cave, hitting a rock with a shovel and just going like, hey, Barney, is this load bearing? And Barney's like, I don't fucking know. None of us are cave experts. We're just a bunch of dudes with shovels.
Literally, and his whole logic here is, yeah, I'll go back, and then Barney will look good, and everyone's gonna forget about Barney pulling a gun on that guy until he does it again tomorrow. Like,
the whole town thinks that he's a fucking moron, like, inherently.
Literally,
that ship is sailed.
Nothing matters except for Barney Fife's feelings. At this point, we've proven that Andy Taylor values Barney Fife's ego over the lives of the people in the community.
Just over literally anybody.
Like,
he values the ego of a guy he does not particularly like. Like, a dude who he torments at every possible opportunity.
I want to talk about another show for a second, right? I've been rewatching all of Community lately, right?
Yeah.
And I've been thinking a lot about the character of Abed on Community, because they address this a couple of times throughout the show, that everybody kind of walks on eggshells around Abed, and everybody kind of treats Abed a little differently and to protect him, essentially, because they're worried that he'll freak out, essentially, because they at multiple times in the show Abed has a mental breakdown, and they've gone through it, and they've addressed that, like, this actually isn't good for anyone, least of all Abed. And there are moments where they, like, there's an entire episode dedicated to, like, Annie teaching Abed, hey, sometimes you have to think about other people. Like, you gotta fucking do this. And it's just, it's very, I'm not gonna say, like, everything that they do with Abed is good, right? Like, there's some questions there, but it's just, it's so weird taking that formula, essentially, because Abed is kind of the Barney Fife of that, right?
Yeah.
Like, he is kind of the Barney Fife in that. Everyone kind of has to, like, treat, not necessarily his ego, because I think that's kind of the key there, is that Abed doesn't have an ego. But it's that, like, Abed has a very distinct perception of reality, much like Barney Fife does, and if you change that perception of reality, there will be negative effects on his psyche.
Yeah.
So as his friends, everybody kind of bands together to protect him from that, sometimes at their own expense.
There is the thing, though, that we are kind of, like, projecting modern TV rules onto an old TV show where, like, you were not supposed to watch it in successive order or really remember the previous episode. So we are, like, it is our thing of, like, we see this pattern of things happening. Like, have I told you about my experience watching Golden Girls with Blanche?
No.
So,
but real quick, before we do this, sure, but even in the context of this 25 minutes, the logic is batshit.
Yeah.
Insane. Like,
so
if this was the only episode of the Andy Griffith Show I'd ever seen, I just think that this was an episode of
this
crazy people. Like, this is a show about psychopaths.
A lot of them are fairly, like, relative to this, innocuous. This is the first one where it has spiked into the point of, like, maybe some people die. So we, through quarantine, our big thing was we binged Golden Girls. It's like, it was basically our life raft. Blanche, I don't know how familiar you are with it.
I'm familiar. I know the basics of the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
I know who Blanche is.
Blanche is, like, a kind of selfish. And every episode she does something to varying degrees of selfishness. She says something really mean to one of her friends, or she's willing to undercut one of her friends for personal gain, or she refuses to go to her dad's funeral because she's in a fight with her sister. And taken in one of those, you'd be like, oh, look, Blanche did something shitty this week. But if you watch it in rapid succession, Blanche is the goddamn devil. Like, she is an absolute dead-eyed sociopath who would slit a child's throat for 12 minutes of attention. And it's kind of the thing of, like, yeah, you weren't supposed to remember the previous episodes. You were not supposed to identify a pattern, because people being shitty could just be a joke and didn't have to be part of a larger character pattern.
Yeah.
But, and that's, and like...
if you could get away with a lot more of that, really. Yeah.
Yeah. But, so we are, like, aware of a pattern with this show and enabling Barney Fife that we aren't supposed to be.
We're predisposed to already feel it this way. But.
Yeah. It's why, like modern TV shows like Parks and Rec, like, here's a shitty idiot character. We're going to make sure that we give him redeemable traits, because you're going to be spending a lot of fucking time with this guy and you need to at least kind of like him.
There's also, speaking of Community, have you ever heard Dan Harmon talk about the idiot ball?
No.
The idiot ball is it's kind of a writing trope, a thing to avoid, I think he is what he describes it as. And that's it, like, when you run out of ideas, and for the sake of the story, for the sake of having any sort of story, one character has to hold the idiot ball this week. And they have to, even acting out of character to do so. One example I can think of is, there's a Thanksgiving episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine that's always rubbed me the wrong way. I'm sure you know the one I'm talking about. It's the one where they all go to Amy Santiago's house, and they give Amy Santiago the idiot ball, this character who's normally really organized and, like, meticulous and super detail oriented, and now she's, like, mistaking salt for baking powder. And like, the joke is that Amy has to be a bad cook, so they just remove all of the, like, normal qualities of her. I think about this all the fucking time watching the Andy Griffith Show. Like, who's holding the asshole ball this week? You've talked about it before. You've like, every once in a while, someone has to behave unnaturally like a dick for this entire episode to work.
It's also anytime Barney Fife, like, anytime Don Knotts has to go off and do a fucking movie, someone else needs to become 10,000% more shitty and stupid.
Someone else has to fill that role. In this case, I'm gonna say, like, not only am I mad at this episode for going so far off the rails, but I'm really kind of mad at the writing here, because this is extremely out of character for Andy.
Yeah, this is an insane thing to do, especially because, like, all right, their big nightmare scenario is we tell them that we got out fine, and everybody makes fun of Barney and calls him an idiot. Which you could explain that away and be like, yeah, we were in a mine that collapsed. We got out of the collapsed mine. He still should have done everything he did.
To be clear, Barney is doing the right thing regardless.
Yeah. Which, like, what should he have done in this situation of been like, mine collapsed. It's probably fine.
Yeah.
I'll go tell some people, but I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. Because maybe he got out the back door of the cave.
It's not comparable to the bank thing. It's not. This episode wants you to think that it's comparable to the bank thing, but it's not. In the bank situation, there are a million other options that he could have taken.
Yeah.
Like, in this one, there's really only one correct move, and that's the one he took.
Like, he showed, like, all right, the scenario is Andy walks up to the cave and be like, hey, everybody, I'm actually safe and alive. And everybody should be like, oh, we're so happy that you're safe and alive. And if anybody turns around and be like, Barney, you fucking idiot, you just go like, hey, man, fuck off.
Yeah, they're the dick, right?
Yeah.
So
like, fucking A.
Instead, Helen and Andy change back into their dirty clothes. They make a point of this, and they're going to change back into their dirty clothes and sneak back into the cave the other way, and then die, right? Like, that cave could still close in on you.
It's a collapsing mine. Which, fucking, alright, normally when you do characters doing something really stupid or out of character, it's because you want something really funny and cool to happen, and you kind of need to, like, smudge some stuff to get there. Our big crazy set piece is Andy and Helen just lying down in a mine. Like, it's not a great moment. They were just like, we found you. And they're like, you sure did find us, bud. Yay! Everybody's happy. It's not like a huge... Like, the show has done this before, and the result has usually been like, well, a bunch of old ladies get wasted on moonshine. They usually, like, normally it's something cool, and it's just fucking lame as shit.
Everybody's like, hooray, and then everyone says, boy, it sure is good that we have Barney Fife around. Yeah, and everyone's like, yeah, I guess it is. Good thing we have Barney Fife. No one else would think to get a shovel.
Yeah, no, like, if he hadn't been here, we wouldn't have even tried digging. We would have all gone home.
Although, to be fair, if Barney Fife hadn't been there, you wouldn't have gone in the fucking cave to begin with, because you wouldn't want to have gone anywhere to get away from Barney fucking Fife.
Yeah.
If we really want to do the dance, it's Barney's fault they're in there, because he's such a miserable little prick. They decided they would literally just go and stare at a dark rock than be with him any second longer. I will literally just wall myself up in a dark, cold, land filled with coal, and I would rather get black lung than spend any more time with Barney Fife.
I would rather cask of Amontillado myself than spend another fucking minute with you.
For the love of God, Montresor!
Fucking A. Oh, God.
I was told there was a still bit down here. There's no still down here at all. What are you doing with those bricks? That came out more Paula Deen than fucking Barney Fife. It's so always bad.
Remember, like, way back, we were like, our Don Knotts impressions are going to be, like, laser-focused, carved out of steel, just masterful. We'll be able to do these at parties. And now worse. It's like, it's basically like, all right, I'm going to try to do a Don Knotts impression. Spin the wheel! Like, What celebrity are you getting today? All right, it's landing on Elvis. I'm doing a bad Elvis impression now. Oh, fuck.
Side note, I did realize, like, on a road trip recently that if you want to do a Cher impression, you just take an Elvis impression and go, like, up just half an octave.
It's really the best way to do an impression is to fail to do a different impression.
There's a stinger. We bring back Opie. It's a dumb joke. Barney's like, boy, everybody's making a big deal out of this. Can't believe everyone's making such a big deal. Can't believe they put it in the paper. And then Opie runs in and is like, hi, Barney, I bought all of the newspapers like you asked.
Okay, all right. We gotta back up just very briefly because you did touch on this earlier, but Andy is sitting in Helen Crump's apartment, and he just heard on the radio that everybody thinks he's trapped in a mine. And his first instinct is, I need to preserve my friend's ego, and not, I need to tell my son that I'm not dead. That's insane.
That's ridiculous.
Anything other than I need to go hug my son and tell him that his father is okay, because every single second before I do that is trauma. Fucking psychopath shit.
It's ridiculous. Although, as we'll see in the next episode, I really don't think Andy gives a fuck about his kid.
He really doesn't seem to like him all that much.
Let's do ratings on this, and I think we can squeeze in the next episode here.
Yeah, it's not going to be a long one. So,
Andy meter.
I didn't hate it that much when we started, and now I fucking despise it. It's absolute dog shit writing.
It's like so poorly written, right?
It's just an absolute, like it breaks every just rule of good writing. It just trips over and face plants into a pie.
It just none of the behaviors of anyone makes sense. If anything, Barney Fife is the only one who is in character this entire time.
It is just basically Sideshow Bob stepping on rakes over and over again in terms of writing.
Yeah, so fuck this episode. I'm gonna give it a 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2.
And as Barney meter goes, like, I don't think this did any lasting damage, right? I feel like
yeah, it just kind of exemplifies everything stupid and fucked up about this show.
Yeah.
None of it is like active malevolence. Oh, there's the racism. We should give it. It's a 5 for racism against Native Americans.
5 for racism, I guess.
Against Native Americans.
Right.
Yeah, that feels right. Yeah, so on to the next wet fart of an episode.
All right, let's do this one. This is season 4, episode 14, Andy and Opie's Pal. Again, directed by Dick Crenna and written by Harvey Bullock, and airs January 13th, 1964. Here's your one-sentence summary from Wikipedia. Opie gets jealous when Andy pays extra attention to Opie's new friend, Trey Bowden. So, fade up on a kid throwing a knife.
Just a kid playing with a knife.
Like,
and I think this starts basically the most realistic way a child friendship starts, which is just, that kid has a thing I want to play with, so we're best friends now.
Yeah, literally their whole entire conversation is Opie's like, hey, that's a cool knife. I've got a cool football. Do you want to talk about this, I guess?
When you are a kid with a Sega Genesis, you become real friendly to kids with Super Nintendos.
Yeah.
You get real social real fast when you realize that you have Sonic and jack shit else. I felt that interaction. He like goes in, he's like, oh, check out this football. That's the normal size of a football.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, this is a regulation game size football. And it's just like, yeah, okay. All right. Ain't much to brag. This kid's got like a knife with 6 blades, a file sharpener on it. Like,
he's basically got a fucking shuriken.
Yeah. Yeah, and Opie's coming up just like, look at my perfectly normal football. This is a football just like football players use.
That's a cool knife you have. I have the most normal football possible. If you ever touched one and the kid's like, I guess not. I assumed that I touched a normal football, but you're really selling it, so I'm assuming I haven't. I've been touching, like, bastard footballs.
I want to stress here about how very little Trey seems to want to be friends with Opie.
Yeah.
Opie basically forces this conversation and friendship to happen. Trey is very happy just throwing a knife at dirt.
Which, okay, and then, transactional nature of child friendships, Opie is like, my dad's the sheriff, and Trey is like, you're interesting now. Like,
right.
I want to meet a sheriff, so let's do this thing.
I guess I'll be friends with you because you are, like, 2 degrees away from a gun.
That's really what it is.
That's what it comes down to, right? If I hang around you long enough, I might see your dad's gun.
I might get to touch a gun.
And he does!
He does! He gets to touch
a gun by the end of this episode, so, I mean, I guess Trey's plan worked out.
Yeah. Okay, so hard cut to the jail where Barney is getting off the phone with Gomer, and then he's like, all right, so I think Gomer's claim has some validity, and he lays out the peppermint conspiracy, which requires rules of a candy that I did not know were a thing, which, apparently back then you had peppermint cookies or candies or whatever, and some of them were pink on the inside, which meant you got a free cookie, and some of them were green on the inside, which meant you got a flashlight. These people were out of their fucking minds. Or, I guess, just so deeply bored that they needed to give away flashlights with candy.
Did you never hear about, when you were a kid, was there never, like, the legend about the lollipops that, like, if you got the wrapper that had a star on it?
Yeah, what was it?
I want to say it was Dum Dums, but apparently that's not, Google's not giving me anything for that. Lollipop star wrapper legend.
So, was, like, when
Tootsie Pops. It was Tootsie Pops.
When Willy Wonka came out, was it just basically like, hey, we're doing that super normal thing, but now it's a fucking factory? Like, were all candies just giveaway sweepstakes?
I guess, yeah.
But the
fact check on Snopes. So some of them just had a star. Some of them was like an Indian shooting an arrow at a star. And if you did that, you would redeem it with Tootsie Roll Industries for a free bag of candy. That's no one fucking knows what that is. Like,
I vaguely remember that from being a child. But yeah, so Gomer is of the belief that the candy store owner is fixing his peppermint supplies to only give away uncolored peppermints, which Barney leads complete credence to. Which
grown
Andy,
men.
Yeah, which
Two
Andy
grown
rebuts
men in their 40s.
Yep. Andy rebuts by saying that gambling is against the law. So
yeah,
it's an extremely weirdly written interaction.
So they enter Trey and Opie. There's a whole gag here where Andy proceeds to ask Trey questions like getting to know you, where you're from, or whatever. And Opie talks for him.
Scene. It's nice.
It's also pretty on brand for Opie. We learned that Trey is new in town. He and his mom just moved here. His pa died. They used to live in Erie, PA. They did the Blood Brothers routine. They were born in the same month and they both don't like carrots. By the way, Opie's just really fucking slutty with that Blood Brothers routine, I think.
He's swapping blood with everybody all over town.
Like, we've definitely seen Opie, like, blood brother up with one of Andy's girlfriends, and then that girl disappears.
Yeah,
like,
he's blood brothered with, like, half the boys in town, 3 homeless guys, and one of Andy's girlfriends.
So they talk Andy into letting Trey come over for a sleepover. Also, Trey's never been fishing, so they're going to go on a fishing trip. And they never actually say it, but Andy's very clear, like, got no dad, huh? Well,
yeah.
I guess. I guess. I mean, maybe they were waiting to see if this kid turned out to be fucking anything, because like it would have made way more sense to introduce this kid's mom as an love interest for Andy. Like, why not? It's way better than Crump.
Well, they would have had to introduce another full-time. They would have had to, like, Ron Howard's agent was like, don't you dare introduce another full-time child cast member.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I will slit that child's throat. Burn this show to the ground before I let there be Opie 2. We are not getting Cousin Oliver. Yeah, so they, like, scamper off, and then a fucking insane interaction happens, which it's the designated unhinged monologue of our episode. So they start reminiscing about the time
Barney and Andy, the kids are gone, so Barney and Andy are just talking about how they've always been friends since the 4th grade,
and they talk about, like, well, we never really had any fights, and when we did, they weren't a big deal, which Barney finally gets the opportunity to bring up something that has clearly been weighing on him for like 30 fucking years, which he brings up how pomegranate queen?
Not pomegranate, that's too fancy. Apricot queen.
The apricot queen, she was like a child pageant winner. She came to town, and Barney and Andy were supposed to escort her all around town, and Andy met her early and went on a date while Barney waited for like 3 hours. Barney uses this moment to just like, basically like, yeah, remember that time you did that? That was so funny. That was such a funny thing that you should apologize for him. And he's like, yeah, I had a good time. That ruled for me. And then Barney goes on an unhinged meltdown about how unfair that was to do to him as a child, revealing that he remembers the exact date and time of it happening, every single detail of Andy's date that he has been meticulously reconstructing like a forensic psychologist. Fucking, like, he has like an entire corkboard at home with like yarns that they're gonna be like, and at this time, corroborating evidence shows that they went to the furniture factory for some goddamn reason.
Yeah, he like breaks it down like he's detailing a heist, essentially.
Yeah, which like
ladies and gentlemen of the jury, they then went to the movie theater.
Yeah.
As you can see by this ticket stub.
Which he specifically says, don't pretend you didn't go to the diner with her. Juanita told me. Which, how fucking old is Juanita, the woman that he's been fucking on the side?
What? Yeah, what?
Is she like
hang on. When do you think this story happened? Because I thought this story happened like when they were young men. You seem to be thinking that
No, he specifically says, don't try, you went to the diner with her. Juanita told me you did. So Juanita, Barney's side piece who works at the diner, I'm assuming that they were like 11 when this happened, leading me to the conclusion that Juanita, twist, is like 68.
That would be interesting, but no.
Barney's side piece is an old woman.
I don't think that's very funny. Well, you know what? Given the landlady thing, he does seem to have a thing for.
He has a geriatric fetish. That's. Yeah.
Okay.
But
no, I'm gonna counter argue that no, because of the war.
Yeah.
Right? I was gonna say I feel like this story happened when they were young adults, when they were like in their 20s.
No, they were.
That's when they were gonna be in the war.
Yeah. No, they were children. They were kids, teenagers at oldest. Juanita Beasley was still working at the diner, so that is the reason why Barney is cheating on Thelma Lou and why he can't just date Juanita Beasley, because Juanita Beasley is like 65 with a retired husband.
Alternatively, Juanita has been working at that diner since she was 14.
Yes, also a possibility, but I choose the geriatric thing because it makes a lot of stuff make a lot of sense.
It's a lot funnier.
Yeah, but okay, so he goes on this unhinged, basically court case against Andy, which ends in a more deranged way with Andy just going like, "You're not mad at me anymore," and Barney just goes, "Yeah, I'm not," which like. Fucking, he's gonna kill you. Like, he was just like, hey, I've been hanging on to sexual frustration as a result of your actions since we were children. Do you want to address that at all?
No.
And Andy's just like, no, I had a great time and I don't regret doing it even a little bit. Do you want to still be around me? Barney's like, yeah. It's fucking very creepy domination of one person by another.
It's very weird. Like, he's just like, all right, well, you got that out of your system? Good. Time to go.
Yeah.
Back at home, it's dinner time. The boys are playing upstairs. They're playing really loud. Playing, I don't know.
They're playing war. They're pretending to murder each other with guns. One of them has a spaceman helmet on.
They're playing little kid stuff.
They hear Andy coming up to check on them. They jump into bed. Andy reveals, he pulls apart the covers and is like, "You guys are in full military gear." Very weird thing happens that made me uncomfortable, which is Andy says, "All right, I'm going to separate you guys so that you don't keep each other up all night. Trey, you're going to sleep in my bed," which is weird.
You have a couch.
You have a couch. He does specifically say, which I didn't catch the first time, that when Trey falls asleep, he's going to put him back in Opie's bed. Didn't catch that the first time, which made this 10,000 times creepier. Because I was like, are you just having the neighbor boy sleep in your bed with you? Because what the fuck?
No, that's not it. But he also says that Trey can use one of his fishing poles, right?
Yeah.
Because Trey doesn't have a fishing pole. And so this is where, and I think also somewhere along the way,
he when Trey is out in the hallway and he's like, "Also, I'm going to give you pie," which fills Opie with a jealous, seething rage.
Yeah, I mean, and this under normal, a competent writer could really do something with this, right? I can see this. All right, this kid's getting jealous that his dad is spending too much time paying attention to this other kid.
Which the episode doesn't. It lets it be subtext, and it really needs to not be subtext. That Andy says into the camera, "I am treating the boy very well because he doesn't have a dad." Basically said, I'm trying to be nice to a kid that doesn't have a dad. Instead, it's just "Hey, Trey, I fucking love this kid. This kid rules as much, if not more, than my own son.
Yeah, without making it explicit, right? It really just seems like Andy's just hanging out going, "Hell yeah, this kid rules, Trey rules, Opie drools." Right?
Trey.
Because the next lines are the next morning hanging out on the porch. Trey comes downstairs. Andy's like, "Don't tell me Opie's still asleep." And Trey's like, "Yeah, he is. I chloroformed that bitch." It really does come across like Trey is trying to single white female his way into the Taylor household.
It is. There's a lot of levels of creepy in episode. It is a sign of the horrible times that we have lived through and been brought up in. But a dad taking particular interest in one of his son's friends reads a lot creepier than it did back in the day.
I just even removing that part of it, it's weird the way he handles this, right? He's not like, "Well, I guess I better go wake Opie up." He's like, "All right, let's hang out here, and I'm gonna teach you how to shoot a gun. A thing I definitely don't need to talk to your mom about." Barney is there, and Barney does the thing. I'm so tired of even describing it.
Yeah, gun. But Andy keeps going out of his way to be like, "Hey, Trey, do you want to do a thing that I don't do with Opie? Wee, look how much fun we're having." It's just, it has, Opie is kind of in the right to be as upset as he is. He gets, a guilt smackdown at the end of it. But Opie is "Yo, you're being weird with my friend."
I want to push ahead here and just kind of summarize what's about to happen. Is that he's going to start going out of his way to find reasons to exclude Trey. He's going to start going out of his way to be like, "Okay, well, Trey can't hang out with us. That sucks. Okay, bye." And at no point in time do we have the father-son moment. At no point in time does Andy even become aware of Opie's jealousy.
Yeah.
Right? The lesson that Opie learns is don't be a dick to your friend. He does not learn your father loves you. There needed to be a moment here where Andy says, "I love you, son."
Yeah. "I love you more than the neighbor boy." He fucking Opie basically says I'm feeling insecure about our bond as father and son, and Andy just goes, "Well, did you ever think about how that makes Trey feel?"
Yeah. He does exactly do that.
Yeah, he's being like, "Yeah, well, I bet Trey feels worse than you, so that's another way in which he's better." Fucking
Right?
A. And So Opie is just progressively more and more of a dick with Trey. It culminates in a shoving match where Opie is just an absolute raging little prick. And
I need to talk about the next scene, though. I skipped over it, right? Opie keeps trying to keep Trey from going fishing with them. And in fact, Opie kind of talks Trey out of it. And it's like, you know what? We're not going to go fishing. I got to go to football practice anyway, so no fishing today.
Yeah.
And then Andy and Trey Andy runs into Trey and is just like, hey, were we going to go fishing? And Trey says, oh, Opie said we're not going fishing because he's got to go to football practice. And then Andy goes, well, guess there's more fish for us. This isn't weird. It's not. Yeah. Let's fucking go without him, I guess.
He says like, oh, that sucks. You want to come on patrol with me?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Do you want to go check if the lake houses are all boarded up? And then Trey, he's like, invite Opie. And Trey's like, he's busy. And Andy's like, no follow-up questions. Come on. Get in this car.
Don't care. Whatever. All right, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm really unaware of what my son is doing at any moment.
It genuinely comes across as Andy thinks Trey is super cool and wants his approval. He's not even like, I'm going to take this boy under his wing. It's like he's like, you think that's cool, Trey? I need your approval. Tell me how cool this is. Do you want to see my gun? Touch my gun. Come on, man.
It feels like this entire episode comes from Opie's point of view.
Yeah.
That's the only explanation I can come up with for this. So, football practice, Trey comes up and Opie's like, you can't fucking play. Go away. They have a fight. Barney's the one who sees them fighting and break. And he's like, don't worry, I won't tell Andy, because I bet if Andy found out that you were fighting, he might not let you hang out with Trey anymore. Okay?
Question whatsoever of why were you fighting your best friend? No, like, hey man, what's up?
Like, I'll be honest though, if you see children fighting, I don't give a shit what they're fighting about. Like,
it could be some real shit. It could just be like, well, he says that Dragon Ball Z is better than Inuyasha, so I pushed him. Or it could be like, he's shooting cats. Like, I don't think that he should be torturing neighborhood cats.
He's trying to steal my dad. It's probably about halfway between those two.
Yeah. Like, I need a psychiatrist is probably a pretty good reason.
One time you and I were at an arcade and a fight did break out between two teenagers around us, and you and I heroically backed the fuck away slowly.
Yes.
I had this momentary thought, and by the way, and when these two teenagers started fighting, it was kind of like a whirlwind, like that just drew everybody else around. And I had this thought that was just kind of like, they are children. I am an adult. Do I step in? Should I be authority figure? No.
If I recall correctly, a girl I was dating was there with us, and we left her there. We heroically did not tell her that we were running away. We just kind of bounced.
I had this horrible moment. I was just like, I should step in. And then I thought, every one of these children has video cameras. I do not need to be online as the guy that
you don't need to be in there. All it takes is one of those kids to be like, hey, this guy touched my dick. Like,
no, it was two girls. That's what made it worse.
Girls.
It was two girls.
Yeah, nope. Like, no. In no way. I don't want to be anywhere near this. Did you, at Temple, we used to have the thing where you would just be like sitting somewhere on campus, like you'd be outside a Chipotle, and suddenly you would see like, oh, there's 3 teenagers. Oh, there's 4 teenagers. Oh, there's 6 teenagers. Oh, there's 9 more teenagers. Oh, there's 25 teenagers. They're about to start beating the shit out of each other. We gotta go.
No, straight up. Philadelphia teenagers, it's like you see one, you gotta go. Like, get out of there.
If you see more than 10 Philadelphia teenagers in a given place, you need to leave because the battle from 300 is about to happen. Like, it's about to go absolutely fucking insane wherever you are. Oh, God.
Okay, so back at the jail, Barney immediately rats Opie out. Like, immediately.
Yeah. Because he just wanted to tell Andy about the cool thing he did. Like, he was like, I was just the cool uncle. Andy, I was just the cool uncle! And
Opie comes in with fake bandages, just like, put bandages all over his face, just like, look what Trey did to me!
yeah. And then Andy, Opie basically says, like, I want some quality time with you. I'd like to spend some more time as, like, father and son. And Andy's like, oh, yeah? Yeah? Let's do it. I'm gonna hurt Barney really bad right now, and it's your fault. I'm going to hey, Barney, you're not invited on the fishing trip anymore, you bitch. And Barney's like, what? Why? No, what? Why? I'm emotionally devastated and running off into the other room. And Andy's just like, you did that, Opie. You just did that to Barney. Are you proud of what you did to Barney, your friend?
Folks, I really, you think Dan's exaggerating. He barely is.
Yeah, I'm making subtext text. That is it. Like, he's just and he just basically says, like, look what you just did to Barney. You did that to Trey too. You're kind of a monster, aren't you? You're kind of a piece of shit. Huh? Yeah. All right. Go tell Trey you're sorry and also that I love him.
It's so fucking demented.
It's insane.
It proves just like how little attention Andy is paying to his son's feelings. Because like, I know that like at no point in time does Opie actually say he doesn't have the emotional ability to say I'm jealous or I'm feeling weird about this. But he could have him throw a tantrum, have him say, "Why don't you spend all your time with Trey?" Or "Why don't you want Trey to?" You have this kid run away twice an episode or twice a season. This would be a good time for it, right? Like,
yeah,
address the root cause.
You have Andy give Opie a big life lesson speech like twice an episode, and they're always extremely like hit the nail on the head. Why is he doing like subtlety now?
The lesson that there should be here and the actual takeaway lesson that they have are so far removed. Like,
Andy, I think we can say, like, for all the nightmares of this show, Andy has more often than not been a pretty good dad.
Disagree.
His whole thing, like, a lot of open and honest communication. Not like in terms of the lessons he's teaching them, but he's always been like, hey man, tell me your problem. All right, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna explain. Like, he always does that. His parenting in this season has taken a sharp nosedive, where most of his lessons are like, hey, come here. Sit down on my knee. Shut the fuck up. Hey, I'm sick of this, all right? I'm not having fun. You're really bumming me out and pissing me off. Just shut up.
Hey,
shut up or I'll torture Barney.
You projected a little bit here, Bullock.
Yeah.
How's your relationship with your father? Oh, y'all want to talk, Batman? Don't you lecture me on fathers.
He's fine. He doesn't have a bunch of holes in his fucking head, so I guess he's doing pretty good. Yeah, Andy's a dog shit parent who, like Opie, like, leaves to go make up with Trey, and Andy is like, hey, Barney, time for my second big speech. You know how I just devastated you emotionally? Well, it was a goof. Didn't mean it. It was to teach the son a lesson, so we're cool, right? And Barney's like, no, I'm super not. I'm really upset. And Andy's like, that's cool.
Although, again, right, like, weird, like, Barney's entire reaction is very bizarre, because the way that Opie, the way that Andy kicks him out is he says, like, hey, I gotta go spend some time with my son. And Barney just cries. So, like, his entire existence is everything about this scene is so fucking weird. I can't get over it.
Yeah, like, imagine being that upset that you don't get to spend time fishing with a child. Like,
yeah.
hanging out with children isn't that great, man.
You have 2 girlfriends.
You have 2
Quick reminder, you have 2 girlfriends.
You are a sexually active adult that is upset that you don't get to spend time with a guy and his kid. A guy you see every day, and a child you also see every single fucking day.
On a lake you go to pretty much every week.
Yeah. This, it's Andy, you see him every day. It's Opie, you see him every day. It's fishing. You think about, see, do, and talk about it every single fucking day. Oh, God. So stupid. Everyone in this show is so fucking stupid and poorly written.
All right, so ratings. Fuck this episode. It's really boring. It's a boring-ass episode.
The stinger is Andy and Trey. Opie and Trey are friends again.
Oh yeah, by the way, you'd think that, like, for all this hustle, or for all this hassle, Trey would be like a regular character.
No.
Trey shows up twice. 2 more times, and then no more Trey.
Oh, also, on the way out, Andy does do hey, by the way, Apricot Queen, loved hanging out with her. Had a great time. Maybe I'll apologize. I'm feeling like apologizing. And Barney's like, are you? And Andy's like, nah, man, I'm super not. I'm a piece of shit this episode. Like, somehow, in this situation, the guy holding 30 years of resentment for a minor slight isn't the dick. It's kind of crazy. I kind of found a way to be the asshole in this situation. Well, later. Bye, everybody. I've hurt everybody in this episode except Trey, who is my best friend. I booked us a kayaking trip together. I'm really excited. I explicitly told Opie he's not going.
Ratings.
This
episode sucks, man. It's not fun to watch.
Fucking
it's
boring.
boring. It's dull as shit. Opie heavy episodes are either amazing or dull as shit. No in between. So this is a 2 for me. Like, it sucks.
It's a very realistic portrayal of childhood friendships in that it's boring and stupid. Yeah, it's a 2. Fuck it.
Barney meter, I mean, far as bad stuff, I mean, I wonder about the, like, relationships all of these people have with their fathers.
Yeah. Pretty creepy, man. Like, the Andy Trey relationship really, like, skeeved me out. It's not
so strange. Like, and again, like, a lot of the issues of this could be solved with just, like, 2 lines of dialogue. Why are you treating Trey so well? Because he doesn't have a dad. Like, 2 lines of dialogue fix every problem with this episode.
Yeah. So it has shitty parenting, but I think everything else is just bad writing.
I mean, I'm gonna give it a 4 for a Barney meter.
I'll give it like a 2. I don't think it does any real damage to anything. I hate Andy.
It doesn't matter, but I think I'm gonna give it a call your father out of 10.
Yeah. Deal with your parental issue.
All right, so that's about it for us. I'm done. I'm tapped out. Thank you again all for listening. As always, remember, if you want to support us with your money dollars, you can get at us at patreon.com/breakingmayberry, where you get bonus episodes and extended episodes, all the stuff that we cut out of these scenes. They show up on Patreon, including our
director's cuts.
Yeah, including our brand new bonus episode on Little Nemo's Adventures in Slumberland, in which we pitch a gritty reboot of Mark Trail for Netflix. So that's available on Patreon. Otherwise, if you want to help us out, those ratings and reviews, keep them coming. Online, we are on Twitter at Break Mayberry. I am on Twitter as Schneid Remarks. That's SCHNEID Remarks. Our music was done by Max Ludwig, who is on Twitch as Sleep Talkie. Anything else? Instagram Breaking Mayberry, Facebook Breaking Mayberry. That's it for us. We will see you all down at the fishing hole. Ba ba da ba, ba ba da
Boo.